at the Bankasa TV. Now it's if when Daniel Concoche a UK abrochimim. Now a top UK journalist back who from a Matt Watley about Bontin at the similar betudra concerning a year on Telegraph newspapers were trusting be after a excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now so on Saturday a John Dramani Mahama a UK government authorities at Nase acquire agreement sell more. 256 million US dollar loan na omojifi UK abano the 15 years betua sa kanwe at the same time the US abanso so omodo omoka 266 million US dollars. Was it in the some years back esanso borrow another loan in billions of dollars concerning energy ho sensemo sa kan no kwagusu e honoma this same aban some years back womo entumi entua enwie also dey ashenebufo pan yourself for the fact say excellency John Dramani Mahama the democratic and judicial pillars na ebo country no ho ban no oba be mu in January wa ba sabotage ni na enya asem keto na okasa patche say top Supreme Court judges say for no more abemu amotu bu aban in the pan ebo Ghana man power aba asesa Supreme Court judges na ewa abemu asesa High Court judges say wa abemu asanso asesa Appeals Court judges say wa abemu so asesa Ghana ye democratic rules no asesa ni na enya asem ketwa only for the fact is based on common sense say UK aban revoke every contract bia omni excellency John Dramani Mahama since 2013. Now, yes, we believe no good team come we Matt Wadley kana audituda medamina
office in January for a second non-consecutive term. Since then, Ghana has taken a far leftward, anti-democratic turn, wielding lawfare against his political opponents. He has bent the law to protect his own. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court was dismissed based on a petition that was never made public. Half a dozen more complainant justices have since been appointed to the same bench. Scores of legal cases against members of the president's own party, many related to serious fraud and corruption and major banking collapse, have been dropped by the country's Attorney General entering into nolle prosequis. This approach should not come as a surprise from a leader who is both a socialist and a Soviet sympathizer. His autobiography, My First Coup d'etat, is partly set in Russia, a country where he studied and by his own account found quite agreeable. Mahama even took time out of last year's election campaign to launch the book's Russian edition in Moscow. Since returning to the presidency, he has made his mark on international affairs by penning an opinion article in the Guardian newspaper attacking Elon Musk and Donald Trump over South Africa. But it is lawfare against the opposition that should most concern the moneylenders in London. The most high-profile attack has been against Ken Ofori-Atta, the previous administration's former finance minister. Ofori-Atta is nothing if not a Western man, educated at Yale and Columbia universities. He went on to work at Morgan Stanley and Solomon Brothers before founding his own investment bank. He became one of Ghana's best known and most successful international business leaders, entering national politics only in middle age, and certainly not for the money. He went on to oversee major economic reforms of the banking sector and steer the country through the strains of the COVID-19 pandemic over a period during which Ghana's GDP per capita nearly doubled. Only days after Mahama's return, the state turned on Ofori-Atta lurid accusations flew, followed by demands for his return to Ghana to face questioning. His home was raided. A special prosecutor branded him fugitive from justice without evidence. U.S. authorities were said to be processing an extradition request, and even an Interpol red notice was reportedly issued to extract him from the United States, where he was allegedly hiding. Except he wasn't. Oforiatta, per medical records available to United States officials, was in the US receiving cancer treatment. Meanwhile, the military and police had entered his home in Ghana apparently without a warrant. No extradition request was ever made to Washington. My investigations told me, here is evidence of proof which Washington sent to me that no extradition request was ever made to them. The special prosecutor has since admitted as much. Nor were there any indictment with evidence from the special prosecutor. The special prosecutor has never pressed charges, raising the question of whether Ghanaian authorities misled Interpol into issuing the red notice, which in law can only be applied after formal charges have been brought. This is why Mr. Oforiatta is still enjoying his life as any other person in the United States. Nearly a year later, only salacious accusations have been made against Oforiatta, primarily about sign-off on spending in government departments outside the finance ministry. It is equivalent of expecting to hold Chancellor Rahel Reeves personally responsible for every single individual line item of spending in the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, or the Atomic Energy Agency, or the Passport Office. It seems self-evident these attacks are underway because Ghana's current leadership perceive Oforiatta, a man possessing presidential bearing, as a potential serious challenger at the next election should he go down that path. This is no way to run a democracy. Indeed, it is questionable whether the rule of law is still functioning when such a stark case of political persecution is unfolding, and whether international businesses can still rely on the legal security of their investments in Ghana. As for the British taxpayer, questions should be asked about whether this debt assistance amount to good money being thrown after the bad. Every British government should, of course, support British businesses working abroad. But there are simple calculations. Is there the rule of law? Is the legal system sufficiently independent? What are the chances of getting the money back? The questions are obvious, even to those of us who are not government economists. Ghana